What's up, everybody? Every year I do a video where I talk about the albums coming out that year that I'm excited for, and sometimes I like to maybe throw in a prediction or two or 7. I'm going to put some albums on your radar that are coming out this year that I'm personally very excited for, and then I would love for you to also leave a comment below with any album that you're excited for too. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. I'm going to be putting out a lot of great content this year, and you're not going to want to miss out. All right, albums coming out in 2024, and a lot of these are, if not 100% confirmed, almost confirmed based on artists saying that the albums are done or etc, etc. Chance the Rapper Starline Gallery. Now, Chance the Rapper was the hottest thing in the world for a long time. Acid rap, coloring book, he was literally at the top of his game. Everybody loved Chance. He appealed to everyone from people that loved hip hop to the core, all the way to like moms dancing in their kitchen. It was genuinely something that connected everybody. And then he put out The Big Day, which was a massive flop. And it wasn't just a flop with critics, it was a flop with fans. Most people hated that record, or at the very best case scenario, thought it was extremely forgettable across the board. That's kind of where I landed. I have not really gone back to it at all since the year it came out. There wasn't even a standout track that I go back and play. It was a huge misstep in what was otherwise a career that seemed like it had no way of falling off. That being said, I'm excited for Chance to release his new album. I think this is going to be him hopefully trying to win back the hearts and minds of all of the music community after losing them in one fell swoop with his debut studio album. Again, it could be a complete miss, but I'm hoping that he has kind of taken feedback, thought about it for all these years, and is now ready to kind of release something that is more aligned with the stuff that we've come to love of his. We also have an album coming out from Pearl Jam. As you guys know, one of my top 3 bands of all time. Pearl Jam is the greatest American rock band, and I know their last album, Gigaton, was a bit divisive and not everybody loved it. I personally loved it, especially after seeing a lot of the songs live. Very excited for what is to come. I've read a bunch of articles lately kind of teasing things. They've talked to some band members. They're kind of saying that it might be on a bit of a heavier slant than some of their previous stuff. In one article recently, McCready actually said that he was playing lead guitar in a way that he hasn't in many, many years, comparing some of the songs to the energy of like Reach Down from Temple of the Dog. So if all of this is even remotely true, this could be the best Pearl Jam album in a decade. I'm very excited. 070 Shake is putting out Mango Tree Story. I'm a big fan of what she does. Very unique artist, blending kind of that R&B soul with hip hop, a little bit of experimentation. I think she's wonderful, and I'm very excited to see what this new album brings. And then we have a new album coming out from Halsey this year. Halsey is an artist that I have only in the past few years really fallen into, and especially her most recent record, which was produced by Trent Reznor. That alone made that record super special, but her ability to write really interesting songs is what really kind of kept it interesting the whole way through. If her next record is a continuation of that sound, or is even an expanded sound that's totally different, I'm all in. I'm excited to hear what she has for us. Billie Eilish is apparently close to or done with her new album, and I know everyone's been dying for more music since Happier Than Ever. I loved her first record front to back. Happier Than Ever, for me, I know this is an unpopular opinion, was a little bloated. I think that there were some tracks that probably could have been cut. Not everything was of the same caliber as everything else to me. The actual title track, Happier Than Ever, however, is my favorite song she's ever done. I would love for more of her music to capture that energy moving forward, but I did read an article that said that she was very inspired by Radiohead for this record. So a Radiohead-esque Billie Eilish record? I'm all in for that. Dua Lipa has her follow-up to the iconic Future Nostalgia. Dua Lipa is not just your average pop star. Much like Carly Rae Jepsen, I think she has transcended just radio pop to be just a very solid artist in the music lexicon when it comes to pop music. I think she is terrific. I love every one of her records. I think she's an extremely talented performer. She's super charismatic, and her songs are catchy and interesting. So the next Dua Lipa record should hopefully continue the streak. The XX are back this year with more music. As Romy just recently revealed, they are currently working on the follow-up to I See You. Now, the third XX record for me didn't really do anything except for the stellar single that sampled Hall & Oates, which was amazing. But I know that Oliver and Romy kind of did their own thing, put out some solo records. Jamie XX has done some solo stuff. They've all done a lot of exploring outside of the XX. Let's bring it back to the core. If they can release an album that sounds anything like their debut, even a little bit, it could be album of the year material. So I'm always excited for more XX. This one's a little controversial, and I'm sorry ahead of time. I am actually kind of looking forward to Vultures by Ty Dolla $ign and the now villainous Kanye West. I don't really want to sit on this channel and say super positive things about Kanye, especially as a person. I definitely don't have those things to say about him these days. But musically, he's always going to intrigue me as someone who's been a fan of his music for so long. I've always been a fan of Ty Dolla $ign. His voice is excellent. And a lot of the previous collabs between the two of these, especially the song Ego Death, have been tremendously good. So they've leaked a bunch of songs. There were some pseudo listening parties. From what I've heard, I'm interested. There was a song recently called Burn that leaked, and Kanye sounded like he was rapping like it was back in the day, like late registration era. Not quite that good, but he sounded hungrier than he has in a while. Ty was crushing it on the track as expected. The song sampling Backstreet Boys, Everybody, which is supposedly the album opener, has leaked. I don't know if they're reworking it. I think they might be, but regardless of the fact that it's basically just a direct ripoff of Backstreet Boys' Everybody, it's so catchy. The beat goes hard, and I don't know. I'm excited for this record. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be a comeback record in a sense. I'm just curious as to if the world is ready to receive that. Motion City Soundtrack has teased that they are back in the studio working on new music. I think their recent tours have reinvigorated them to make music. The first album back with Tony Thaxton, a buddy of mine who is an amazing drummer, and he was not featured on their final record, Panic Stations, but I think he's going to be featured on this one. So with Tony in the band, the Infinity Gauntlet of Motion City Soundtrack members is complete, and everybody is amazing who plays in that band. JCP is such a good songwriter, and they're one of my favorite bands, so more music from them would be an absolute treat. I don't know if Cartel is going to release a new album this year, but they did put out some singles. I think it was last year. Was it the year before? I don't know. Time is all blended together these days. Cartel is one of my favorite pop punk bands, with Chroma being my favorite pop punk record ever. The newest Cartel singles, they didn't quite reach that level, and I wasn't like in love with them, but they were still Cartel, and they scratched an itch. And if they're going to put out a new record, I'm really excited to hear it regardless. Even a bad Cartel record is still a very good pop punk record. So hopefully they put out that album they've been teasing. And the biggest one I'm excited for this year by far, sorry Pearl Jam, I'm very excited for that too, but I am more excited for LP5 by none other than the Vampire Weekend. Vampire Weekend is a band that I have been a super fan of since their first record. I've seen them a billion times live. They're always amazing. I think Ezra is such a charismatic and interesting frontman. I absolutely adored their last release, Father of the Bride. I thought it was a revelation to their own sound that was already so perfected and honed in. They kind of went a little more jam bandy as Ezra fell more into the Grateful Dead kind of fandom, but I still think it captured the essence of that Vampire Weekend sound on so many tracks while expanding their sound on tracks like Sympathy and things that were really kind of out of left field that still felt Vampire Weekend but new. So LP5 is done, according to a newsletter the band put out. And that means it's probably going to come out this year. I'm going to be seeing them at Kilby Block Party in Utah this May, so I'm hoping that it comes out before then so I can jam out to the new songs and at least know the words to sing along to. And now for some predictions. Now, these are not substantiated. These are just things that I'm using my thoughts about the industry, things I've heard, tidbits, just intuition to be able to guess could happen this year. And I'd love to hear some of your predictions as well. First up is Run the Jewels 5. Can you believe it has been since 2020 that we last heard a new album from Run the Jewels? Run the Jewels 4 was in 2020. So it's about time for RTJ 5. Now, as a lot of you know, I'm a big fan of RTJ across the board. I will say that I did prefer RTJ 1 and 2 to 3 and 4, but I think all 4 of the albums are great. More music from Killer Mike and LP is always going to be welcomed, and I really hope we get some this year. How about some new music from Turnstile? I have become such a big fan of these guys. Glow On was my entry point, as was for many of you, and then I went back and listened to everything else, and I was like, holy crap, these guys are amazing. They managed to take hardcore music and make it kind of poppy while not losing the soul and the energy and the bite of hardcore music, and I think it's a really nice blend that makes it accessible but still having a lot of cred. I don't know, I think they're very talented. I can't think of anyone that would say Turnstile sucks. That would be wild. I think it's a wild take that hopefully no one has, but I think it's been a while since Glow On, and I'm ready for some more music from them, and I believe this year could be a surprise album. Speaking of surprise albums, maybe this is the year we're going to get the follow-up to Frank Ocean's Blonde. Now, I was pessimistic about it because after the Coachella debacle, he was kind of booed off of the world for a minute. I think everybody soured on Frank for a multitude of reasons, from the phoned-in performance to showing up late to canceling the second weekend. All of these things didn't really make him the most desirable person to be standing in the community, despite the fact that Channel Orange, Nostalgia Ultra, Blonde are all unbelievably iconic and important records to me and to most people who like R&B and soul and hip hop and, you know, genres of that nature. So I don't know. I think the album was close to done, and he probably either has scrapped it or pushed it back indefinitely because of that debacle. I'm hoping that he reaches a place of peace where he kind of realizes, okay, I'm going to separate that moment in time from the music that I want to put out, and hopefully will grace us with another amazing record. I'm going to mention My Bloody Valentine. I've been mentioning it almost every year for the past few years when I make this video. Kevin Shields has been talking about new MBV music for a long time and has not happened. Maybe this is the year. I don't know. Caro Bonito is a band that I absolutely love. I've talked about them on this channel since Damn It Sandy back in 2015. I got to meet Sarah back in the day, and she was such a sweet person. I've been such a fan of her Cry A Lot project, of all the KKB stuff as they've continued to evolve their sound from this kind of saccharine J-pop sound with rapping to the later career stuff that sounded more like shoegaze and kind of alt-rock, which was really cool. Very excited to hopefully get more music from them. They've been teasing some full band pictures lately, so that makes me think that their little hiatus might be over and they're ready to come back and hit us with a banger of an album. And finally, an album that I'm very much looking forward to that I hope happens this year is the new album by My Chemical Romance. They went on an unexpected world tour, they were playing festivals, they released a single. All of this happened in the past few years, and no one ever expected that to ever happen again after they broke up. The new single would lead you to believe that there's going to be more music coming, but we have not heard anything, although there have been a lot of hints dropped with various merch saying Swarm. People think that might be the album title. Not sure what's going on, but I do believe that if we're going to get a new My Chem record, it's got to be this year. Otherwise, too much time will have passed. It would be too weird, and they might just fade back into not being a band. I hope that's not the case, because I really love the new single, especially hearing it live, and more My Chem music is an unexpected treat that I really hope we can enjoy in 2024. Thanks so much for watching this video. Again, I'd love to hear your comments below of the albums you're looking forward to this year. There's bound to be a lot. I think it's going to be a great year for music, and I can't wait to talk about it with you guys all year. Thanks so much for watching this video. More coming soon. Take it easy.